Coming up on AgweekTV, some are predicting the farm economy is going to get worse than the crisis of the 80s. It's already forcing producers out of business.
We're here in Galchute, North Dakota, where it's shearing day for these alpacas, and it's quite the undertaking.
And the farmer who gained fame with his Prince tribute has been keeping busy with his new art form. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Shauna Olson. Many producers are facing the harsh realities of tough economic times. Some are even facing the loss of everything they worked so hard for. Mikkel recently watched as a young North Dakota family sold off their herd in light of rising costs and low prices. And many experts are saying it's a sign of much more to come.
What goes up must come down, and in central North Dakota, the livestock producers who have the poorer capital positions are feeling the pinch first.
This is the day James and Moretta Benedict have been dreading and working so hard to avoid. Their cattle herd is being auctioned off. The Benedicts just can't afford to keep them.
When we sold calves in November, we did pretty good. I mean, we got about $1,100, $1,200 a calf, and it was okay. And we got a lot of the payments made. But then it started going down, so then you started realizing that this isn't going to work, that it just doesn't pencil out.
Times are tough. Can't make the rent payment because prices just aren't there. Like with the pasture rents, cost of living, cost of feed, all that stuff keeps going up.
Sale barn partner Ray Erbely of Napoleon Livestock says this won't be the last time he does this.
I'm going to tell you that I think 10% of our producers are going to have a hard time meeting their obligations this fall. And I think that's a conservative number, but I'd rather be conservative than careless.
The Benedict's lender came to watch the sale. He compares this to the 80s, but this time it's not high interest rates, but the high cost of everything else except commodity prices.
Every farmer's net worth has dropped, whether they want to admit it or not, because what is their tractor worth, even if it's paid for? Because there's no one buying. What are these cows worth if you have to sell them? What is our land worth if you have to sell it? If we can't get our costs under control and we don't have good prices or good crop, we're going to see a wreck here that'll make the 1980s look like a Sunday school picnic.
But cattle ranchers is who the Benedicts are and what they want for their children.
Hopefully our plan is, our goal is we're going to start over. We're going to just start building back up, but just go slow.
Folks around here are hoping and praying that the first debt-related whole herd dispersals of beef cattle are not a return to 1980s recession. For AgweekTV in Napoleon, North Dakota, this is Mikkel Pates.
James and Moretta have already gotten jobs off the farm, and James plans to expand his feeding operation to make some money until he can start over with his own cattle. A recent price hike in soybeans has some growers planting less corn and more beans. A lot of farmers in Barnes County are almost done with planting season and say this price increase is a nice glimmer of hope.
The comments I hear from the guys is this spring has been one of the best in their recent memory. For one, no sloughs, very little waste acres. There's the big old water. But as far as what's dry, what's there now, they're able to seed every square inch.
But now the manager of Columbia Grain near Valley City says they could use a shot of rain. He says here, farmers have made good planting progress. All wheat is in the ground, almost all the corn, and as of Monday, over half of the soybeans have been planted. And due to the change in price in soybeans, a slight shift in some growers' planting intentions.
I do know of a few fields that went from corn back to beans. Since the 1st of March, the soybean market has just come up, a couple bucks a bushel, and that's huge. Soybeans are our #1 handle here at this elevator. We dump them for export, and it's a major part of the Barnes County economy.
He says he's also seen an increase in the number of peas in his area.
Last year we handled about 50,000, and this year we'll probably be over 400. We got a yellow pea program going, so if the guys have peas and they're looking for a market for them this fall, we're going to dump them at harvest. As you see, we got rail cars here. We're going to load a whole shuttle train of peas that will go to export.
Bjornson says some corn near Emden, North Dakota was nipped by the frost, but is still in good shape. Monsanto's Roundup Ready 2 Xtend soybeans hit the market this year after a long regulatory process, but delays in approval by the European Union of the genetically modified soybean has caused some confusion. Roundup Ready 2 Xtend is a combination of two traits which allow farmers to spray beans with both dicamba and glyphosate. It's the latest move to counter weed resistance. Carl Peterson of Peterson Farm Seed says about a third to half of his customers return their seed this year. He says he doesn't see it as a big problem since the vast majority of the soybeans grown here go to the Pacific Rim and it's already been approved there. He says right now it's a small part of their business.
If it had gotten approvals all lined up last fall, it would have been a little more. But going forward, it will be a very significant portion of our portfolio because the genetics that are being put into that trait are awesome. And the trait itself for weed control of resistant weeds is excellent. And you know, the thing that we've got going right now is just a short-term temporary problem.
About a month ago, several grain merchant companies, including CHS, announced they would not accept the Xtend beans until a European issue is resolved, which is expected by harvest time. Coming up on AgweekTV.
I'm Meredith Holt, and we're going to show you everything involved with shearing an alpaca. Here's a hint, it's nothing like shearing a sheep.
How did we become the region's largest independent seed company? By taking a very simple but powerful stand. We will sell no seed that we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm. Peterson Farm Seed. Stand tall.
Hey, I'm Tyler Perry. Do you know what hunger in America looks like? Well, it has many faces, and 16 million of those belong to children. Yet billions of pounds of food go to waste each year, and this is unacceptable. You can be a part of the solution. Join us in supporting the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks, which rescues our surplus foods and provides meals to many families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org today. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Total Ag Industries is the leader in total control. Their custom-built fertilizer systems are the crown jewel of the Total Ag lineup. Total Ag systems come with a fully customizable fill system, and the variable rate hydraulic drive system works with John Deere displays for real-time feedback and complete fertilizer monitoring. Total Ag's field-tested design allows precise control and accurate application in your fields for better yields and more profit. Contact Total Ag by phone or visit totalag.com.
When you need electricity way out here, you better get yourself one mighty long extension cord. Or better yet, a portable Honda generator from Home of Economy. Rugged, dependable, and so quiet, you won't miss a sound. Pick one up today at the guaranteed lowest price, only at Home of Economy, where your dollar buys more.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Agweek magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Agweek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted, Agweek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
Alpacas and llamas aren't very common animals in our region, but the industry is growing. For some, they get sheared once a year. Reporter Meredith Holt was at a recent alpaca shearing day and has more. Meredith, what did you learn?
Shauna, I learned that the process of shearing these animals is unique, just like the animals themselves.
He's a little scared. Oh.
Preparations have been made.
Kind of organized chaos.
There's nervous humming in the pens. This is the first time Jesse and Dirk Monson have hosted Shearing Day.
We're having several farms from the area bring their animals in and having kind of a group effort. It's easier for everyone involved if we can have several volunteers.
After a delay, the man of the day arrives.
Well, you're prepared.
Oh yeah, I got Band-Aids and peroxide.
Raised in Iowa, now living in Oklahoma, Marty Hoffman is one of 10 children of a professional shearer. For about 10 weeks each spring, Hoffman travels a 12-state area, clippers in hand. Shearing an alpaca or llama is much different than shearing a sheep.
Sheep, when you grab them, they're pretty much compliant. For the most part, they just lay there and take it.
Yeah.
Alpacas, llamas, no. You'll probably see some spit, hear some screaming.
Alpacas don't like to be touched.
Put it on.
So it's a group effort to get them into position.
I'm just kind of holding place towards your body.
We have to restrain them in a different way. We lay them down on the ground and use a pulley system and restraint system to keep them on the ground so they stay safer.
Then it's Marty's turn to go to work, with help from his assistant.
Eric, my handler, he's gonna help manipulate that animal and roll it to give me a good presentation.
Spitting is common, so socks also come in handy.
You want to save this stuff, yeah. We'll throw that in that bag.
Volunteers and other alpaca owners help bag up the fiber and get animals secured and ready so the process can move as efficiently as possible.
There's a task for everyone, from sweeping up in between animals, trimming toenails, helping catch animals here and there.
Curious George, he was the most curious one when we got him, and Cruz, and the brown one is Rocky.
Charlie Schmidt from Felton, Minnesota brought his alpacas to the shearing party.
Because I did them myself the first year, and being a rookie, it took a lot of effort and took me forever. So I was hoping to pick up a few tips on doing it myself, making it a little quicker.
There we go.
After they're shorn, the alpacas take a while to get used to their new haircuts, but they'll have new coats by winter. Hoffman says last year's record was 140 animals sheared in a day. At about 6 minutes per animal, that adds up to a 14-hour day.
Thanks, Meredith. Coming up on Agweek TV, planting is done for most, and now many are hoping for more rain. Your agri-weather forecast is next. And later, remember the farmer who plowed Prince's symbol into his field? We'll show you what he's been up to since then.
Quality is not a word we take lightly. From the materials we use down to the details, it's always been about building something the right way. That's how you know it's a true Minn Kota window.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
North Country Marketing is your weed and mosquito control headquarters, carrying the Easy Rider ATV mounted sprayer, pull type ATV sprayers, 3-point sprayers with 6-foot to 30-foot booms, utility vehicle mounted sprayers, 48-inch pull type weed rollers, and the new 72-inch model. We also carry walk behind weed rollers and estate sprayers. North Country Marketing has the sprayers you need for this season, and we ship anywhere. Contact North Country Marketing toll free or visit us at northcountrymarketing.biz.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone.
Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
I look down the line and I see every step this window goes through and the people that help create it. I love working with a team that truly cares about helping make true Minn Kota windows.
Weather portion of Agweek, I want to talk about the probable transition from El Nino to La Nina. There's a lot on the news about it. Some of it you can't believe. First of all, let's go back and explain briefly the El Nino. The trade winds across the Pacific are weaker or were weaker than is what we call average. This is what we had last winter. High pressure in the east, low pressure in the western parts of the tropical Pacific get a little weaker than usual. And what this does is the typical cold water, which upwells, comes up from below, brought about by the trade winds pulling the ocean currents to the west, that water tends to warm up. And if anything, the warm water spreads out across the tropical Pacific because of the weakening trade winds and the weakening ocean currents. La Nina looks actually like the opposite of that, because what happens in La Nina is the trade winds get stronger. And with those stronger trade winds, the old high pressure, low pressure systems across the Pacific, those in turn get stronger. So the upwelling cold water off the coast of South America gets colder and gets dragged out across the tropical region of the Pacific. And just like with La Nina, only differently, this changes the jet stream configuration, how strong it is, and it changes weather all around the world. But I don't want you to get the impression that La Nina is the opposite of El Nino. It doesn't mean the next winter is going to be the opposite of last winter. There are many other things that can influence the weather, and if anything, La Nina is less predictable. In fact, the change means less predictability, and this going from strong El Nino to La Nina this summer, this fall, means long-term forecasting is really going to be tough. Secondly, probably means we're going to have a colder winter, perhaps very cold winter next winter, but there are many other things that can influence that. And there is some potential for a drier than average summer throughout the Corn Belt and Northern Plains, but not necessarily drought, just maybe a bit drier than average. Hot weather in the Northern Plains this weekend, giving way to some scattered thunder showers and the return to a more typical pattern for the week ahead. We're seeing a weaker subtropical jet. The polar jet is no longer split into quite so many parts, and it's just a typical slightly warmer than average, slightly less stormy than average late spring weather pattern. We're going to see a few showers in the Midwest. The central part of the Midwest probably has the best chance. Up in the Northern Plains, it'll be a bit spottier. The Corn Belt, especially the eastern side, is looking fairly dry. As we move into the second week of the forecast, I am seeing another round of showers in the plains. The west is looking almost completely dry. The Midwest, especially down south, will be somewhat stormy, and there will be some opportunities for Memorial Day showers and thunder showers in parts of the upper Midwest and the Northern Plains, but not necessarily widespread heavy rain, and to the west will be a lot of dryness. So the potential is there for the Memorial Day weekend and into the first few days of June to be fairly warm and generally drier than average here across the north.
We believe in a fair and balanced approach to state and federal regulation. Proposed changes to OSHA's anhydrous ammonia policy, EPA's Waters of the U.S., the Clean Air Act, and endangered species are a few examples of what we are facing. The one-size approach doesn't work for North Dakota. Agriculture Commissioner Doug Goring wants to work with you to protect our state. Go to our website to see the latest issues that affect not only agriculture today, but for future generations.
Commitment. You need it to succeed on the farm. It's total dedication to the land, family, and community. It's more than a way to make a living. It's a way of life. You've had it since the first time you ran your hands through the soil, helped bale hay, or rode along in the combine. Your commitment, it's as strong as your family's trust, as honest as each long day you put in, and as pure as the opportunity that comes with every tomorrow. It's how we build our bins, with proven design, superior structural integrity, a lifetime warranty, and a promise to stand with you, no matter what storms come your way. The harvest will always be protected, so you can sell when it's right for you, your family, and your farm. Commitment. It's why we can say, there's nothing standard about superior.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Agweek magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Agweek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted, Agweek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
AgweekTV, sponsored by Peterson Farm Seed.
There are many concerns over food safety and genetically modified food. One leading expert says those concerns aren't always fueled by facts. Dr. Bruce Chassie has spent a lifetime working with food science. He's an expert on the safety of GMOs. He says with so many professional activist groups, it's hard for consumers to know who to trust and to decipher fact from fiction. He says those groups do a good job of trying to sway consumers' decisions by providing them with false information.
They are often critical of the traditional groups who you think you would go to, like the National Academy of Science or the FDA. There's been an attempt to shift trust away from them toward consumer activist groups and environmental activist groups. They make it hard for consumers to figure out who's correct. Is this activist group correct, or should I trust the FDA that they can really ensure the safety of my food?
Chassie says the same is true for the chemical glyphosate. He says activist groups are feeding consumers lies about the product. He says glyphosate is one of the least toxic chemicals in the world and about as toxic to us as baking soda or salt. Chassie was a panelist in a recent roundtable discussion on GMOs and food labeling. Our Mikkel Pates moderated the panel, which also included reps from American Crystal, KLN Family Brands, and the North Dakota soybean growers. It all started with a memorial tribute to Prince. Retired farmer Gene Hansen of Edgley, North Dakota, got worldwide attention for his field art. But as Kevin Wallivan reports, he's not done yet.
On a perfect May day, time for a little spring field work. And so Gene Hansen of Edgley hopped on his war-torn Massey Ferguson 135. With a 3-point disc trailing behind him, Gene and his Massey head out. Another day, another field, and one more design.
Now, other farmers have made designs in their fields, often using GPS and auto steering. Not Gene. It's all up here.
No GPS, no.
Instead, the longtime farmer and entrepreneur sketches a design on paper, then attaches it to the hood of his tractor. That's it.
The one on my hand, the Feel the Burn, I didn't have paper at the time, so I just wrote Feel the Burn on my hand, and I went out in the field.
It all started after Prince died. It took just an hour.
Of course, the symbol is on the hood of the tractor there yet.
Look at this. Perfect.
So when I got up and I thought to myself, wow, this is, how could it happen,
And it went viral.
Prince is worldwide, of course. I get calls from all over.
Then other designs followed. Happy Mother's Day. And also a salute to veterans. Once he's done in the field, Gene takes to the sky. Today, he and I went for a little ride.
I'm always anxious to see after I put one in the field what it's going to look like, and because you can't tell from the ground sometimes.
There they were. Feel the burn. The letters, 24 feet across, 130 feet long. Hand-drawn and dug with only a rough design scratched out in paper. Nearby, a message to his own political party. GOP, get your act together. Gene's tractor steers a little to the right. It sure's been a ride, this toil in the soil. A little stressful. You mess up one letter, it's over.
You want to set your disc down at the right time. Of course, if you put it down at the wrong time, then you messed up the whole thing. So you start all over again.
More designs are yet to come here in Edgley. Being a political junkie, Gene says the next one may trump all others.
To give you some perspective, that Prince symbol Gene dug into his field is as big as a football field. Ahead on AgweekTV, the results of a new survey on the loss of honeybees.
How did we become the region's largest independent seed company? By taking a very simple but powerful stand. We will sell no seed that we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm. Peterson Farm Seed. Stand tall.
The North Dakota Soybean Council invests checkoff dollars to increase soybean demand, increase yields, and open new markets. The soybean checkoff has resulted in stronger prices and higher yielding varieties. Checkoff dollars fund research to bring solutions to farmers' greatest production challenges. Global demand for North Dakota soybeans for human consumption, animal feed, and commercial use has never been greater. Checkoff dollars, investing in a profitable future for North Dakota soybean farmers.
Time to demand more. With Micro Essentials, you get more from every acre. Through our fusion technology, only Micro Essentials combines 4 vital nutrients into one powerful granule, ensuring uniform nutrient distribution and increased nutrient uptake. The innovation behind our fusion technology means you'll grow stronger, healthier plants. Micro Essentials. Get more from every acre.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone.
Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
The federal government is trying to keep closer tabs on honeybee operations nationwide. It's an effort to find out what's causing colony collapse disorder and other stressors to bees. A first ever survey by the National Ag Statistics Service shows colonies are down 8% nationwide from a year ago. Bees and other pollinators are crucial to ag. The USDA says honeybee pollination adds more than $15 billion in value to crops each year. North Dakota is the nation's leading honey producer and is bucking the national trend by adding colonies. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. We'll see you next week.